Dr. Evan O'Neill Kane is a chief surgeon in New York City. He wanted to prove that local anesthesia was safer and a more viable way than general anesthesia in major operation. So in order to prove his point, in 1921, Dr. Evan O'Neill Kane operated on himself. That's what biblical counseling does. It allows us to operate on ourselves using the Bible as our blueprint and mirroring of Jesus Christ. Good, strong biblical counselors are much like the sperm whale, the Perry Bison, the bald eagle. They're endangered species. And when you're endangered, you run in fear of being shot and killed. Today, good, strong biblical counselors need to come from hiding, especially if we're going to be dealing with the postmodern world who chose to evict the God of heaven from their consciousness. Postmodern worldview has three characteristics I like us to think about. One is secularization, which eradicates religion. And then we have pluralization, which eradicates meaning. And then privatization eradicates shame. I learned that postmodern world wants you to believe in something, but they have nothing to hold on to. When biblical counseling gives us something to hold on to, and that's Jesus Christ. Since the postmodern world chose to evict God, we've seen how society gotten worse. William Bennett, who was a former Secretary of Education, wrote how the last 30 years, how worse society has become. He stated that 560% more increase has evolved with violent crimes. He said there's a 400% increase in illegitimate births. He said there's a quadrupling in divorce rates, a tripling of single-parent homes. And then he said there's a 200% increase in teenage suicide. And there's a drop in 80 points in SATs. In dealing with the postmodern world, our blueprint is found for Christian counseling, and dealing with them is how Jesus handled Satan in the wilderness. Deuteronomy 8 is a clear example where Jesus quoted from. And he gives us 4 punched out blueprints on how to deal with the postmodern world, just like he dealt with Satan. And those 4 guidelines is humility, spirituality, faith, and prayer. Those are the 4 things how biblical counselors can deal with the postmodern world and not compromise our integrity no matter what the world says. That is how Jesus dealt with Satan, and that's how we'll deal with the postmodern world. I like to close with a parable that describes the biblical counseling compared to the postmodern world viewpoint. There was a young man who had a very rich father who owned an art gallery. This young man would go out and meet people, and he befriended a beggar. They became good friends. One day, the beggar didn't see his friend. One day, 2 days. And then the assistant of the rich man, he asked where was his friend at, and he found out that he suddenly died. The beggar was so sad that he got some construction paper and drew the picture of his friend. And he went to the rich man's assistant and said, would you please give this to his father because his son was such a blessing in my life. And the driver looked pretty amused, but he said, okay. And when the time was right, he explained to the rich man what this beggar did and drawn his picture. And the rich man looked at it, didn't say anything. Sometime later, the rich man died. And the beggar found out they were going to auction off his art gallery. So the beggar decided to get some clothes and be a part of this big occasion. And he went in and he saw all these people and all these loving all these pictures, the Leonardo da Vinci's, the Van Goghs, and then he spotted the picture that he drew of the son. And then all of a sudden everyone said, let's go, it's time to enjoy this beautiful artwork and let's get this thing going. And then the auctioneer hit the gavel and said there was a will, and the rich man, that his son's picture is the first one to go. People hummed and homed, and then no one bid on it. The beggar went in his pocket, got some change, and bid on it. And 1, 2, 3, the gavel pounded. The beggar went up, got the picture. As he walked away, the gavel pounded again. Boom. He said there was a second will, and this art gallery from the rich man. And he said whoever bid on his son gets the entire art gallery. That's what biblical counseling does. That we get the entire art gallery of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. When the postmodern world just enjoys the Van Goghs and hangs them up, and the Leonardo da Vinci's, and there's an emptiness at the end of it.